This is Chulo, Montana, and you're drinking that Moe's.
This is drinkinatmos, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin' at Moe's, where we don't quit. Drinkin' at Moe's, that's where it's at. Like a power bomb, we hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome. Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, because YouTube's algorithm is a pain in the ass. Yeah, I said ass. We're on most audio platforms too. Today, I'm excited to have with me Chulo, Montana. How are you doing?
Oh, sexy and blessed. Only way to go.
I mean, I got the one out of the two. I got
Very much blessed. Very
the blessed part. The sexy part, I don't know. That can be up for interpretation. But I at least got the blessed part down. I got that part.
Hey, it's all about mindset.
You know what? I like it. I like it. So, first thing I like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you deciding to make that leap into the business?
Ooh. All right. So as a fan, it's a weird thing on and off, you know. But I started when I was like 2. My uncle was a huge wrestling fan. So he became my best friend because that was what we did. We just watched wrestling. Um, Kind of stopped for a little bit, but and then I got back into it. When was it? Like 2016, maybe. My cousin was just like flipping through the channels, and I was just sitting with him, and he left it on on Raw, and I remember telling him like, "Why are you watching?" It was a New Day. It was a New Day, and it was, and then Tyler Breeze. I also saw Tyler Breeze, and I saw his little fur boots, and I was like, "Why are you watching this? This is like so dumb." But then he told me, he was like, "Hey, ask your friend for the WWE Network password because WrestleMania 32 was coming up." So I was like, you know what? What I got to lose? Let me give it a try. And my humble opinion, it wasn't that solid of a WrestleMania, but that women's triple threat match, fire. So I think that's kind of what like regained my interest into wrestling.
You know, women's wrestling, no offense to a lot of the greats out there, but as far as like the fans' mentality, it seemed like it had always been kind of the air quotes bathroom break match. You're like, oh, I guess I can go to the, or whatever it might be.
Right.
But like lately, man, main eventing shows, they've main evented WrestleManias, and hell, they've had a whole, well, as far as like national aspect, they've had freaking shows just women's wrestling, which like back in the day would have been unthought of. You wouldn't even be considered.
Yeah.
So I can see how, some of the women's wrestling the last few years could have gotten somebody back in. Like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah. I know much like you, me growing up, I vaguely remember it was one of my uncles that got me started too. And, guys like, going, maybe dating myself, but the tag teams, I love tag team wrestling. So like the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, the spiked shoulder pads with oh man, that got me just hooked. The reaction from the crowd, and then seeing guys like the guy that used to scare the living crap out of me growing up, but looking now, because I love those intense personas, guys like Bruiser Brody kept going out there and his entrance.
Yep.
Just scaring the crap out of people. And, looking at it now, I'm like, dude, that looks like so much fun. Having that entrance and being that guy that just craziness.
Yep.
It's
back in the day, you couldn't get me to come out of that chair, because I would get scared. Like when Kane would come out, I'd hide behind the chair. I'd hide behind whoever was right next to me, because something about him. He was
oh god, yeah. Like I remember going to shows that he was on, and like I'd be a little bit further back in the arena, but still relatively close, and that pyro going off, I could feel it from where I was.
Hot as hell, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. And oh god, like, talking about like being scared of certain people growing up, my first WWE show, my first pro wrestling show I ever went to live was supposed to one of the matches that was supposed to happen was The Undertaker versus Papa Shango. And I remember when we got there and I saw how close we were going to be, like literally maybe less than 10 rows from the ring and just not very far from the entrance, I was starting to get scared because those two guys back then scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So I can
it's all about the personality, the character.
Most definitely. And then when you decided that that's what you were wanting to do, when you decided I'm gonna be in wrestling, like what was there, like a particular moment? Sometimes people can tell back to a particular moment, they're like, okay, I'm gonna do that. Was there a moment like that for you, or was it just all of a sudden it just came to you?
I think it was a moment, but like when I was younger, I wanted to do it. I was like, this is amazing. But then I remember one time me and my mom and my dad were walking. He was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was thinking about it. And before I even said anything, he was like, "Don't tell me you want to be a wrestler." And I was like, "Oh," I didn't even say nothing. I was like, "I guess that's not a possibility." But then after that, I was kind of like growing up, like you got the internet, you got more access to stuff, and you look up stuff, and you're like, it might be possible. I remember in 2018, in January, I went to take over Philadelphia, and I saw that Andrade and Johnny match, and that I feel like that was it for me. I was just like the crowd, like being in the arena. Them Philly crowds be crazy. So just feeling that, I was like, I want to feel this one day. I want to feel what it's like to have people doing that for you, them reactions and everything. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. I've gotten a little taste of it myself, and yeah, there's just something about those crowd reactions. Like, you can sense it when you're in the crowd, because I mean you're one of the people reacting, but when you're like making your entrance and you get one of those reactions, it is like it's addicting, because I know I've gotten two opportunities to make an entrance at a wrestling show, and oh man, I remember the last one I got told because I asked, me being the giant Stone Cold Steve Austin fan that I am, I'm like, can I please do the, with the beer cans up?
Yeah.
Can I do that? And he was like, dude, go ahead. I'm like, are you sure? Because you don't tell a Stone Cold fan that he can do that in an entrance at a show and then take it back on him. So
Right.
then I did it, and oh man, I made the mistake of opening my eye at one point to look around, and yeah, I got a little bit of the beer in my eye, and that burned for a bit.
So
But man, the
was it you like
reaction.
managing or
I was actually making my commentary debut that night.
okay.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be too much fun. I even remember, I told everybody, I'm going to be the Pat McAfee of that commentary team. I'm naturally a goofball. So I'm like, I'm bringing that energy. Like I would be the same way if I were just sitting in the crowd. I'm like,
Right.
I'm bringing that. And I'd like to think that I did an okay job of it.
Mm-hmm. There you
So
go.
now, before we get into some things specifically about you, I came across this talking to somebody the other day where I have a question later on that I'll ask you, but the person asks, are you talking about as a fan or as a wrestler? I'm like, interesting. So, the best advice you have for somebody just starting to become a fan of wrestling?
Mm. If
Because, okay, go ahead.
if you're going to just stay a fan, then stay a fan is the best advice, I think, because a lot of people get caught up in, oh, this person's not doing this on TV. They're making them look. Just be a fan, enjoy it or hate it. It's a TV show. It's entertainment.
Oh yeah, I know for me, I much like you, just be that fan. Find what you enjoy, stick with that, and realize that there's not gonna be everybody liking the same things that you do, and that doesn't make them any less of a fan for it. There's so many varieties of wrestling, and with all the streaming platforms out there, there's so many choices that if you can't find something that you enjoy, you probably weren't that big of a fan to begin with.
Right.
All right, now we talked about sexy and blessed. Something that, I have at least half of that,
Mm-hmm.
but and not the good whatever. Yeah, words are
Keep
hard.
telling yourself. Keep telling yourself in your head.
You know it. Yep. I gotta keep that in mind. But you are a part of, what, I don't know why I didn't remember this before recently. You are in a team, Sexy and Blessed, with a former guest of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, when I started seeing some of those posts and looking back, I'm like, oh, how did that come about, that team? Because tag teams, historically, there's some history with, partners. More, lately it seems like it's some teams kind of get thrown together.
Yeah.
How did it come about for you guys?
Um. Well, in wrestling, like a lot of teams get thrown together because, un- unfortunately, they get thrown together because they're the same race or they look alike, or maybe same kind of character. But I don't know. With me and Ykies, it was a random. So me and Ykies actually like legitimately have been friends since he started training. We started training around the same time. Um, and sometimes you could just tell somebody's a real one. And in the wrestling business, let me tell you, you don't find a lot of those. So I remember we did our singles debut in a show in Delaware. And then for the next show, the dude was like, "How would you feel about teaming with Ykies?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my dog." And then it just kind of stuck from there. We've been tagging for, let me do the math, 2 years now, I think.
All right.
Yeah, for two
He,
years.
he seemed like a fun person when I got to talk to him. It's been a little bit, but it was a fun talk.
He's a lot. He's a lot.
I don't know why I didn't think about this, but him actually having like almost reminiscent of like Flava Flav with the giant clocks, but he had the giant key.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can dig that.
A lot of people call him that. And the thing with Ykees is he is Ykees. Always, all the time. Like he'll walk in with that thing into the gas station. If we stop somewhere, like he will do it. He does not care.
That is awesome. That is awesome when somebody is that committed to it.
Yeah.
Gotta respect that. Now, you guys have been around, a bunch of different promotions, both together and separately. One of them being World, and correct me if I'm wrong on this because
Mm-hmm.
World Domination Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah.
Now, I've been very lucky with the podcast to, I love learning about new places, new people, new promotions. Before Ykies, I didn't really know too much about that said promotion.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what has it been like there for you?
WDWA has been we've made it, at least I'm gonna speak for myself. I've made it my home. Like that's, nobody can tell me nothing there. It's a place where the fans really are into it. Really, like I'm talking. When I first started there, I got followed to my car after the show, and that happened like 2 times. They're really passionate there. Um, but yeah, I love it. We just, unfortunately, we just lost our babies. We just lost our tag team championships there. So a little harsh, but feels like home.
I was gonna say when checking up, putting together notes and everything, it did seem like WDWA has been kind of a home base for you, and that's awesome when you have a place that you can venture out, but you can always come back home,
Right.
and that's awesome. You got a place like that, and I guess for me, the thing that got me curious. Oh, excuse me. I love my Dr. Pepper, but it gives me the burps like crazy. But when I saw the logo initially, I saw that cross in there, and I'm like, is this one like you see some places out there that they'll I've seen a few religious themed promotions out there for somebody that you know knows next to nothing about said promotion. When they see a logo like that, is that a place has some of those themes, or is it just happened to be the logo they came up with?
Uh, so we don't be praying before the shows and all that, but but I don't know. It just depends on the owner's beliefs. I don't want to speak for him. I
Yeah.
do I do believe uh they are a religious family. West Virginia, as racist and crazy that they might be, they follow their religion. So it might be. I'm not sure. Or maybe that's just really the logo they come
No,
up with.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't. There's a couple topics that I tend to steer away from, in politics and religion. because not that, I have my beliefs. I respect people that, think differently, but it seems like, people tend to get a little crazy in topics about those. So it's
Teams.
like definitely knowing your audience on, when bringing those up. But, there's nothing wrong with promotions that might have that theme to them. But it is nice that, you have, like I said, going back to, you have that home where, you have that solid group behind you, because Lord knows there's a lot of craziness and drama out there in the pro wrestling world, whether national TV or the independents. So when you have a place that, you can feel comfortable and be at and consider your home, great thing.
Yep.
Now, I like to ask people, that are a part of tag teams, because there's people out there that they prefer tag. There's people out there that prefer, singles action. Do you have a way that you lean towards?
I think I love both. Like love both. The thing with singles, you only have to think for yourself what you're gonna do to that person, where you're gonna be at to do that to that person, all that. With tag team is like it's gotta be a team effort. So I love both. I'm not gonna say I have a preference because I don't, but I honestly think tag team wrestling is a different art. Like it's so hard to get a good grasp on it and become really good at it.
No, yeah, no. You have, like you said, singles action. You just got you and that other person.
You know?
Tag, you got three other, at the bare minimum, three other people you got to worry about in there.
Yep.
Where everybody's going to be. So, but hey, like I've mentioned, talking about Legion of Doom, I love tag team wrestling. Those guys got me into, seeing those guys out there. And I I got to see them live one time, and it was a fun time. I unfortunately never got to meet either one of them, but shit happens.
Be like that.
Now, I have two categories. I got, first, we're going to go with, name game, where I name off people and you give me some quick thoughts on them. And, with you being a part of the Sexy and Blessed tag team, this is going to be a tag team themed name game here.
Oof.
So I give you some names. You give me some quick thoughts on the people.
Now you're gonna have to forgive me if I don't know some of these tag teams. I didn't do my study, so
I
let's
I
give
would
it a
like
go.
to think that the ones that I picked here, most people will know them.
All right.
So I'd like to think I did okay here. First one, widely considered one of the best tag teams out there right now, FTR.
You said one word.
It doesn't have
Mm,
to be one word.
FTR. Honestly, they sparked my love for tag team wrestling. So I don't know if like you can kind of guess how I feel about them. Very positively.
Oh, I would venture to say if they sparked a love of tag team wrestling for you, that a lot of respect and admiration there for sure.
Very, very much.
Now, the next team here, kind of polarizing. Some people love them. Some people, the current persona, not so much of a fan. Me, currently not as much of a fan, but I got respect for them. The Young Bucks.
Mm. The Young Bucks, innovators.
You
You might
can't
not. you might not agree with all the stuff they do. Some of the stuff they do is, I feel some type of way about it. But they started something. Like, I started watching independent wrestling because of their YouTube show that they would do. So
Mm.
it started from the YouTube shows, and I was like, oh, like this looks kind of interesting. So I would look deeper into it. So, you know,
Oh, I got you. You can't take that away from them. Innovators for sure, because going back to Ring of Honor and New Japan, and the independent runs they had, especially the independent runs, they were a perfect example of, you don't necessarily have to be in the WWE to make money in professional wrestling. Those guys, marketing whizzes, and hell, they got part of what got the idea rolling for AEW. And they've had, AEW's had the roller coaster, but they seem to, 2025 seems to be really picking up. They got a new phase going, so it'll be interesting. I know the Ring of Honor New Japan run was a little more my speed for them. But hey, much like, talking about becoming a fan, not everybody's going to like the same thing. Lots of people, regardless of the Ring of Honor New Japan run or currently, been, just fans, diehard fans of the Young Bucks. Nothing wrong with that.
nope, not at all.
Now, next up, these guys have, Hall of Fame careers. Probably first, I think, no argument here. Most likely first ballot Hall of Famers. Current TNA Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys.
Oof, Hardy Boys, damn. So I didn't get to watch the Hardy Boys like back in their prime. It was mostly like, Jeff Hardy, like when he was
Yeah.
WWE champion and all that. Hardy Boys, legends. Like, there's really no other way to describe them. The run that they've had for how long they've been doing it. Like, right now, if you put the Hardy Boys in wherever you put them, it's believable. Like, they've kept themselves relevant for so long. It's just like you
Oh
gotta
yeah. Oh yeah. And going up, lately with matches they've had against a team that I've been able to meet a handful of times, the Rascals. The matches they've had with them. Matches with the Briscoes. Another great tag team.
Yep.
God rest Jay's soul there. I think we just passed what would have been his 41st birthday, I'm wanting to say.
Yeah, it was just recent. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just this week, I think. All right. Next up, last but not least here, probably next to the Legion of Doom, my second favorite tag team, the Dudley Boys.
Dudley Boys. I use innovators already.
I mean, they've innovated a
I
lot of
mean,
stuff themselves.
because they are. That's the thing. Dudley Boys. I'm not too familiar with their game. That's the thing. But you know, dogs. They did their thing with them ladder matches. They're known, like, when people think of those ladder matches, like, you got my dad talking about them, and he don't even like wrestling. So that's how they really did something.
Oh yeah, when you can hook uh, a person that's not even a wrestling fan into a match and getting them talking about it, you
You're
got
doing
something
it.
good going. And
Yep.
I know, I've been a fan of theirs since, the days of the original ECW. And the thing that, back then I didn't get to watch as much of it because, ECW, until, good Lord, I'm wanting to say I was somewhere in high school. That was when they finally got the TNN deal, then, finally got a national TV deal. And, I didn't get to see a lot of these moments where, Bubba Ray is, damn near starting a riot with the crowd and a lot of the stuff. But I mean, the thing that I got to respect is, people that, are the bad guys, the heels today. There's not so many of them that stick with and have that commitment to the heel persona as like they did, because everybody wants to sell their merch, and you can't have that heel thing on all the time to really get the heel to get your merch money, because if you're just being that jackass in front of that you are in front of the camera, at your merch table, people are gonna shy away from you.
Yeah.
But that guy back then, holy crap. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. Hell, I wouldn't even want to be on his bad side now. Because that guy, Bubba and Devon, legit badasses for sure.
Yeah. Sure.
But nothing but respect for the both of them. Now, I got some random questions here. Some wrestling related, some not. Some have nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. Like to keep it random like that.
All right.
First up, craziest in-match moment for you.
Craziest in-match moment. I can't think of anything crazy, like real crazy, but I don't know if I'm putting his business out there. I was in a match with Ykies one time, and his shoulder just left the chat. His shoulder just, I don't know
Ooh.
if it sprained it, popped it out of place, and it just left. So we
Ugh.
had to get out of there, leave out, go to the ER. So I think that was crazy and scary. Yeah, it was so scary.
That sounds like it would qualify.
Yeah, I would say
For
so a
sure.
little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because hell, I've had times, asking this question to people. I've heard about some old lady stabbing a guy in the ass. I've heard about, being told to be careful with a venue, and then two guys proceeding to end up going through a wall. I've personally seen, in person fire used multiple times, including twice in one match. So, like I've seen some crazy stuff and heard some crazy stories.
Well, now that you say that, like it does remind me. I guess it's not that crazy to me because it's normal now. It's like the norm over there.
Yeah.
But I've had people stand up out of their chair and like take a swing at my foot, like I'm on the ring. They're down, take a swing at my foot. I've had people tell me go back to Mexico. I've had people call me all types of stuff. So that type of stuff, but I'm kind of like used to it. And I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm a real American.
There's a lot of places out there that are not as polite as others.
No,
It's just a fact of things, not trying to trash anybody.
it's okay. I love it. It lets me know I'm doing my job extremely well.
Exactly, because professional wrestling, when you're in there in the ring, whether you're one of the wrestlers, your manager, your part of your job is to get a reaction from that crowd. And whether, they're booing you, whether they're cheering you, whether they want to take a swipe at you, you said you're getting that reaction.
Yep. As long as they make it noise, because nobody wants to come out to nothing. So.
Oh, yep. Nobody wants to come out to, no noise at all, much like why people want to forget the COVID empty arena era the things. No, we all want to just wipe that from our memory. Like go with the Men in Black memory wipe
Yep.
thing. Just take that to you and forget that whole part.
Yep. It was rough.
Now, oh God, yeah, rough times. Now, there have been a lot of people that I get a laugh when people talk about, you know, big lottery jackpots and oh, you'd never be able to spend that much money. I always just tell them, watch me. Give me that much money and tell me I have to spend it all. So it goes down to what I like to call fuck it money. You know, just some abnormal amount of money that you never would have thought you'd have, and you know, you never think you'd be able to afford something, but now you have that amount of money and you can. What is one of the first things you would get if you had fuck it money?
I have fucking money. What would I do? What would I do? What would I do? That's a good question, but I don't think I got an answer. Damn. You know what? If I had fucking money, I'd hire my top ops in the wrestling world, and I just make them be my servants for like a day. Like all my haters, gather them all up, and have them serve me for a day.
I like it. I like it. Because, you know, isn't, I'm trying to, I forget where it was specifically that I heard about this, but I think it applies to, you know, it applies to podcasting. It applies to wrestling. That if you, when you have haters out there that, you know, for whatever damn reason it is, you're doing something right because there's something about what you're doing that, you know, maybe they wish they were doing themselves.
I'm telling you, people will love you until you start doing something.
Yep. I have ran into that a few times myself.
Yeah.
All righty. I know, it got me thinking. I have joked about this with, if I had fuck it money, but one of my favorite animals, alligators. I love them. Versus my wife thinks I'm nuts, but there is this spot at the zoo here in Omaha, Nebraska, that down in the bottom of this area, they have what they call the kingdoms of the night, nocturnal animals. And there's a part in there where it's like a swamp, and you're walking over a boardwalk on a swamp, and there's an area that they have a bunch of gators. And I'm like, holy shit, if I ever had enough money to build something like that, yes, please.
Mm-mm. I'm with your wife on that one. I'd leave you if I was her if you got that.
Hey, she's talked about wanting to get snakes. I'm like, if I don't gotta touch them, fine.
Y'all both into some very different things.
So me with snakes, I'm like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones just didn't like snakes. That's me. Like if they're behind glass and I don't gotta touch them, whatever. But don't expect me to want to touch them or hold them or nothing. No.
Mm-mm. I don't even like looking at them. Oh.
I can tolerate them from a distance.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I can tolerate them from a distance. Now, everybody has, a favorite food. I know I have mine. But everybody, no matter how not picky of an eater you are, everybody has something that they just, nope, just get it away from me. What is the least favorite food of yours?
Anything that comes with coleslaw is disgusting, I would say. But by the looks of it, you might be a fan of coleslaw.
I don't hate it, but it's not something that I look to get.
Yeah, I would hope nobody looks to get coleslaw. Um, Coleslaw is probably, that's probably it. Like I'm not that picky. So I can tolerate most things, I would say, but coastlines and
Oh yeah, no, I'm along those lines. I will try just about anything once. If I
yeah,
like it from there, cool. If not, I don't have to have it again.
right.
But for me, one of the things, maybe it's a texture thing, but peas, like just straight, like a
Ooh.
bowl of peas.
Oh no.
No, like if it's mixed into like like chicken pot pie or some casserole, where it's like okay, there's other stuff in there. I'm fine, but just straight peas. Mm-mm.
No, that's a good point. I don't really like peas either. Like you said, I'll kind of pretend they're not there if they're like mixed in with something, but by themselves, hell no.
Oh yeah, nope. And hell, my wife was just giving me crap about this the other night. I'm
Mm,
like, I I got no issue with them as long as they're mixed in with other stuff.
yeah.
Now, with a name of a show like I have, I feel like I have to have this question in here. Favorite drink, alcoholic or otherwise?
Oof. So I'm gonna fail you on this one because I don't really drink alcohol that much. I drink rarely. Rare.
Nothing wrong with that.
My favorite drink. Ooh, it's I have a terrible addiction. I drink a lot of ghosts. Ghost.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. They've got a lot of good varieties. I've been kind of big into the C4 ones lately.
Hmm.
Like they got these like popsicle brand ones.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are delicious.
B4s are good, like nice and cold, but the thing is they make you itch. I don't like the itch. A lot of people like it. I don't like it. Like it makes my lips kind of tingle a little bit.
Hmm. I haven't ran into that too much with those.
You don't feel it. Maybe you you can take caffeine real well, maybe.
Although I along those lines, when I was deployed, and let's just say with the sometimes being on the watch that was like right before midnight to right after breakfast started, caffeine was my friend.
Yep.
So maybe I just built up a tolerance to it through all
I,
of that.
yeah, I think you do. Like me, a can of a ghost won't really do much for me. It's just enjoyable, but it really doesn't wake me up or do anything.
Oh yeah, no, by me with caffeine, I've noticed, since being back from the military that I have to be like absolute dog tired for me to actually feel it like, ooh, okay, I'm awake. Like if I'm just, you know, needing that little extra to kind of, push me through, it's
Yeah.
like, it'd be like, like I feel, drinking drinking a Dr. Pepper is like, oh, I've drank so many of them that it's like I just built up that tolerance that unless I'm dog tired, I don't feel that caffeine, kicking me awake.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too, like the Dr. Peppers. I just don't like I don't know. I feel like the diet ones kind of they're so fizzy. Like I feel like they're more fizzy than the regular ones.
You
So
know,
I don't
now that I think about it, I due to doctors con- convincing me that I needed to switch. I drank more of the diets, but I can't see that. Especially a fresh one, cracking open a fresh one. I can see that. I
yeah.
didn't really think of it that way, but I can get where you're coming from. Now, last but not least, here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling, not from a fan perspective this time.
You have you have to do things because you feel like it's the right thing to do. You see a lot of in wrestling, you see a lot of like, oh, he's too small to be a wrestler. Let's make him a ref. And you had like sometimes these kids believe that type of stuff, and it's like, who the fuck is to say that you're too small? You know,
Yeah.
if you want to be a wrestler, give it your all. And if you do want to be a ref, also nothing wrong with that. But let that be your choice. I think everything needs to be your decision. Don't let
Yeah.
people make the decisions for you. They're gonna try to influence you with the, with the vet cards and this and that. Do it because your heart's telling you.
No, I can definitely respect that because when you look back on your career, you don't want to be like, oh, I wish I would have done that, and you'd be like, holy crap, all of that actually happened.
Yep, it's crazy. Like like you said, sometimes you regret stuff for not doing it. Like me, I was 2 weeks into training, less than 2 weeks into training, and somebody yelled at me for doing something, and I went home and I was like, I'm never going back there. But next Tuesday I was back there, and I love that person now. Like I understand why they did what they did. That's my dog. But yeah, like what if I would have actually quit? I wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
No, yeah, and I've ran into some similar things myself because I've been getting to thinking a lot lately that, man, if I would have listened to certain people and not continued doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be almost almost 330 episodes in. I wouldn't have been talking to you or to hell, I wouldn't have talked and had a shorter episode with Bronson Reed. I wouldn't have gotten to talk with Billy Starks, the
Right.
amazing stuff she's doing. I wouldn't have done any of that. But I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I could do. And much like what you're saying with if it's what you want and you know that you are capable of it, do it.
Yep. Normally I'm a piece of shit, but today I'm feeling real nice. So I'm trying to give out good advice. Can I cuss on here?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Fuck it. We gonna cuss.
Hey, the whole thing of you hear people say talking like a sailor. Well, Navy veteran here, so I kind of got something I got to live up to there.
Yep. You
So
living up
yeah,
to it.
fuck it, let's go.
All
All
right.
right. Well, before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you and Sexy and Blessed, they can go ahead and get them there.
People can find me at Chulo Montana 13 on both X and Instagram. I don't really use X like that. Too many opinions on there. But
Yeah, Twitter can be a little toxic sometimes.
yeah, Chulo Montana 13 on Instagram I would prefer. Um and yeah, it's Chulo, not Cholo. A lot of people get it confused. It's Chulo. Yeah.
I got a little confused at first, but then because I think on Facebook it does say Cholo, which I was
Yeah,
like,
dumbass Facebook, they said they not letting me do Chulo. But other people have like crazier names on there, then I'm like, what?
I was gonna say because I have seen and I've heard from people that I've had on that because of a unique spelling of a name, like Facebook has some sort of issue with it. And they can't use it, so they have to come up with some way around it.
Yep. So hard to come up with something around it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we will get all of that in the description. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me tonight. I wish you and Ykies all the luck in the world getting those tag titles back.
We getting them.
Oh, you're getting them. We're calling it right now.
Yes,
But
sir.
like I said, thank you so much, and I wish you guys all the luck.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Let's see. Here we go with that deal with the